start recording this actually. So hello guys. Um, Welcome to our premiere call or our elite premiere call. Today I wanted to talk about the IPAs that you're focusing on right now. IPAs are income producing activities, especially right now. With you guys killing it in Success Club, I just kind of want to know what's working for you, because I think it's different for everybody. I know I've been talking to a lot of lower ranking coaches and they're kind of struggling. So I'm trying to figure out like what that difference is between, the way that you guys operate and the way that they operate. So I'm really curious to know that. I think Brittany brought something good up where she calls people out. She's like, no, I don't even want to hear your excuses because it's been a year and you've had the money, you've had the time. So like, let's really get to the bottom of what the excuse really is. Right. So what are you guys doing to hit those SE numbers, and what activities are you doing? Are you focusing on to produce that income for you right
now? I think one thing that I've been doing that's just been helping is not even allowing the price to be an objection, and showing, like, I've been really plugging the whole, like, on my Insta story, like showing my list of who's in my pilot group January. And I have like a visual, January 1, we pregame, January 14, we start. And I have a list, and every day that a new person commits, I add their name. So the ones who've been watching me, obviously, when did the challenge packs go until the 5th or 6th? Like when the launch, like when we launched, I was at 0. And normally I don't get to the 5th or the 4th of I normally make it within the first 3 days because I panicked, but I was still at 0 at that point. And I just made it that like these people are doing it. And I even at that point, my coaches who bought the accessories, I added them on that list. Like, I don't care. Like, I tagged their person, like, didn't have to be a person who was day one, a full, a new challenger, a new customer. I showed my viewers that there are other people doing it. They can click their names. They can go find their Instagram. They can see that they're real women who are just regular people. And I think that's helped me just in the past couple of days with a lot of the no's or the not right now, because I've had women coming out of the woodwork hearing 20 minutes and seeing, people doing it right now. So I really haven't had the excuse of the holidays that much.
So how are you talking about the 20 minutes a day? What exactly is your wording that you're presenting on that?
So for me, I ordered the step like the second that we could order it. So I got it really fast. So I did the whole unveiling of the step. And then my big, I guess it's kind of been my platform, is my story is like, exercise used to always scare me. And so I did Sean Week last week, which was a big, like I'd never, like, Sean T scares me. And then now I'm doing Insanity Max 30. And so I'm showing my people that I'm doing hard things. And then I'm like, hey, but hold on, this is only going to be 20 minutes and we get to do this. So I think I've just been telling my story and sharing it along the way. And so it's hitting a lot of my people. Like, a lot of the girls that follow me are intimidated by exercise and, feel like time is always an issue. And so I've just been plugging those points. And when I do my stories of like my workout clips, I usually put little blurbs. So today I did a move from Insanity Max 30 and I had to modify it. So I put, I'm supposed to be jumping right now. However, I'm modifying, but I'm still getting it done. It didn't stop me. And so I'm just sharing those little bits, because my people are the ones who don't believe in themselves, but have to have that little nudge too. So
I love how you're tying in like your personal story with the workouts. That makes it very relatable. It makes it real. And I think that's part of what a lot of coaches are missing. They're talking about the workouts and they're talking about how great they are, but they're missing that personal aspect of, what does this mean for you? What does this mean for me? So I love that. I love that you're tying it in. There's so many people that tell stories and you're like, cool, what's that have to do with anything? You know what I mean? So yours is coming full circle, and I love that. That's great storytelling. Okay, other IPAs that you guys are focusing on. We're talking about income producing activities right now. Brittany.
I also do what Lauren does. And I also like on day one, put anyone that was a current challenger that bought an accessory bundle because they're committing. And it was like, 30 people's names up there, and just showing that like, I always use the word FOMO. Like I'm a huge extrovert and love the community. And so I also will screenshot, like people in my virtual gym will like give testimonies like without me prompting them to. Like a girl this morning was like, I have been struggling with sugar intake ever since, she has like a 6-month-old, ever since I was pregnant. I've been like addicted to treats and sugar, and she started Shakeology like 2 weeks ago, and she's like, and I don't have cravings in the middle of the night, and it's literally the only thing that's changed. So I'm like, okay, well, there's a Shakeology testimony that I didn't prompt you about. And then I've had girls that like picked up their wedding dress and it fit better than, like stuff like that. And I just always will screenshot it and then blob out the names in my Instagram stories. And so it's just making like what I do more tangible in real life, because so much of our like social media reel is just us, because what we do is virtual. So just like putting a face in the name, but I blur out the names and the faces, but just kind of like making it a tangible, like that's a real part of the story. And something else that I just did that was like so powerful. I don't know if you guys have watched the Meet the Cast thing for Transform 20 yet, but holy ish, you will cry. And so I like pulled little sections of that from I just screen recorded on my phone of my BOD app. And I like posted like a little piece of the girl that's Olivia, the modifier, struggles with mom guilt. And I forget what the girl in the back with the long hair is, but she struggles with what she sees in the mirror. And Rebecca, and her husband's like, Beck, you're missing out on so much of life because of you don't think you're pretty, and like stuff like that. Like people responded to my Instagram stories and they're like, okay, I'm crying. And I was like, that is the kind of life change that happens. And I obviously was in the test group, but like this was everyone says it. And I think I might've shared this before, maybe not, but like a bunch of people in week 1 of the test group were like bawling their eyes out during the workouts. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like that's never going to happen to me. Like I am not that kind of girl. Like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but like we're doing freaking burpees. Like, why are you crying? And then it happened to me on week 2 it was like day 4, week 2. And I just like broke down. And I feel like this program is just like, I don't know. It's just so incredibly like releasing. I don't even know how to explain it, but that is powerful. And so I'm trying to figure out how to translate that into how I'm sharing. And one of my coaches tried the sample workout yesterday, and she's a few months postpartum, and she screenshot me what she said after her workout. And I like literally started crying because it was like everything that I felt when I did the program. Like there's something that comes alive inside of you that kind of like died when you were pregnant and like you become a mom. And so like I am 1,000% back to myself. And I think it's because of this program, and like just like so much mental like change shifted like throughout this test group. And so that is something that I'm sorry, but 21 Day Fix did not offer for me, so like the 36 unique workouts and Shanti being in your head every single day, and just like sharing more of that emotional story, like, facts tell, stories sell type of thing. And just like connecting with the struggle of wherever, whatever your niche is or whatever. I don't know. That's off on a tangent, but just creating the FOMO and showing that people are committing and they're real people committing. Like I'm not making up these names, and kind of like Lauren was saying.
Okay. I just want to say, first of all, I love that you are a self-proclaimed extrovert, because I feel like I am. And I always hear like a ton of my coaches are like, I'm an introverted extrovert. And I'm like, okay, blah, blah, blah. But it's so refreshing to hear somebody be like, no, I'm an extrovert. Like I'm out there on the corner, like, be my friend. Like that's totally something I would do for sure. So it just a breath of fresh air. Thank you for admitting that you are an extrovert. I love it. FOMO, absolutely 100%. People hate feeling like they're missing out on something. And I love that you're bringing in that emotional connection. Because for me, when I train, a lot of times I'll go for a run and I go 9 miles or 10 miles or whatever it is. And I have the same thing happen. And I think it's because you're looking back to see how far you've come. And it's like, okay, I was a compulsive eater and now I'm not, or I had eating disorder and now I don't. Now I'm just healthy, and with Sean, he really does get into like the nitty gritty, right? So with this launch, especially, you have a lot of emotional content to offer your people, not just with the program, but with his book and with what you're doing in your group, especially right now with this time of year, wherever you live. I know we have some West Virginia people, we have Northeast people. It gets cold, it gets cloudy, it gets overcast, it gets ugly. So this like very real seasonal sadness time of year. So this is something that's very, very relevant. Brittany.
I was just gonna say, going off of that, I do like What You Want to Know Wednesday, where I like let people ask me questions in my stories, and someone just said like working out is really hard for her. Do I think she could see results from just dieting? And like I answered that question with, sure, nutrition is a huge part of it, but this time of year there's something so powerful about like releasing those endorphins and sweating and like. And then I suggested, she said something about energy, and I just so happened to be drinking Energize and Hydrate, and I was like, you need some of this, and you need some accountability friends, and like just focusing on like it's not one or the other. It's like really committing to the whole package.
Absolutely, it is a full package for sure. So, okay, Kelsey, you take yourself off mute. Go ahead.
I was just going to roll off of the whole seasonal depression thing because I live in Connecticut, and this time of year, obviously, with it being cold and shitty, like I play off of that, and I use that in my posts for overcoming seasonal depression because I always used to just let it affect me so much instead of like trying to do anything about it. I literally would just, watch Netflix and drink wine and feel crappy all the time and not actually do anything to pull myself out of it. But obviously these past like 2.5 years being a coach, I've come up with things that help me. So I kind of talk about that in my posts quite a bit to get people to, because there's a lot of people that deal with it, and they'll reach out to me or they'll comment on it and ask me like about that. So then I have the conversation in the back end about, the online community and my morning routine and the things that I do to help me overcome it. So that's actually helped me with a few signups this month, just because of like my location, I guess. But yeah.
So what actually are the conversations that you have? Like, let's get specific. And I know that you're talking about that, but kind of walk us through what that looks like when you talk to somebody like, hey, I'm dealing with seasonal sadness too, or seasonal depression. Like, what does that flow look like?
Well, I have had a few people that, like, one person, I thought she was like being like mean because I wrote a post and basically said how like I've gotten ahead of depression before it's hit, that type of thing. And she was like, you're overcoming depression before it even hits. That's something I need to learn. And I like couldn't tell if she was like being condescending or genuine. She was actually being genuine. So we had a conversation behind the scenes, and I just, I actually have sent videos of me talking when it comes to this circumstance, because I feel like then they'll be like they'll feed into me and my attitude and see that I'm actually like talking to them and I'm not depressed. You know what I mean? Like they'll feel my energy and what I have to give. So I talk about how I have a morning routine, and that includes meditation. And yes, that audio message on Instagram is going to be such a game changer. I'm so glad that came out, because like when you do look like crap and you don't want to show your face, then you can do that. But I just basically go over like what I do for my morning routine, because I wake up at 5:45 every morning. I do a guided meditation with all of the girls in my challenge group that want to take advantage of it. Obviously, there's some people that just aren't morning people. Then I write like a list of I ams, like things that I want to be, and a gratitude list. And obviously focusing on gratitude when you're trying to get out of a slump is an incredible thing. It's very powerful to focus on the things that you have and that you are grateful for. So I literally just go over the things that help me and talk to them about the accountability groups and the support that they would gain from it, and having that whole group of women to have their back and push them to do their workouts and show up every day. And I talk about personal development as well, because that's huge. And a lot of people just feel like those are self-help books that they don't need. But when it's somebody that's relatable and that inspires them, or that they feel like, oh, I could be friends with this person telling them, instead of it just, be in a book that they see at a store and they see it in the self-help section and they're like, oh no. Like I know before I was like, I didn't feel like I needed it. You know what I mean? I'd be like, self-help, no thanks. Like I am golden. I do not need any inspiration from anyone. I don't need help, when really we all do, and we all need that form of something to grow. So just being genuine in those conversations and letting them know like what you're doing to overcome the crap that you've been through and this time of seasonal sadness.
Tess, were you going to add something? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Kelsey, can I ask a question about the personal development? I know my team rolls their eyes when I bring this up, and I know it. Like, I put in like YouTube things that are on champions that they should watch. I mean, my self-help is just not books. It's like maybe a quick Instagram story or something. It's not all 100-page books I'm sending them. Like anything that helped me, like I put out in our group, and I know no one's looking at it. I can almost 99% guarantee, and I get the roll. I mean, I'm sure they're scrolling and rolling their eyes. How do you get them to do any of it?
I literally always tell my girls, because the first thing when somebody's struggling, I've had some of my girls be like, I have this really great photo and I don't know what to post with it. And I'm like, did you read today? And they're like, well, no. And I'm like, well, if you're not inspired, you're not going to be inspiring. So if you're not actually like trying to find a way to get inspiration, you're not going to be inspiring to anybody else out there. And anybody that even messages me or comments on posts and will be like, oh, like, how are you so inspiring? I'm like, I read. That's literally the only way that I can find inspiration. And I guarantee that 90% of my girls, when I have a conversation with them and they're struggling in the business, it's because they're not doing personal development or they're not connecting to their personal development. So if somebody's not connecting to their personal development and they're like trying to get into this book because some other coach suggested it and they want to love it so bad, like I always let my girls know it's okay if somebody suggested it and you're not connecting with it. Like if you don't love it, just put it down and pick something else up, because it's not going to be helping you. And I've had several books that I couldn't get into, and then I pick up a year later and it's like the best thing I've ever read. So sometimes it's just not your time to be reading it, Mm-hmm. And if you tell them like, you don't have to read, you can listen to books on audio, you can watch TED Talks, there's so many forms of personal development. I do suggest that like reading or listening to one of them is key, because there's tons of books that have like call to actions. You can't just read personal development. You actually have to do it and apply it to your life. But that's helped a lot of my girls. And honestly, it's so much of them actually gaining results in their business. And I know that when they're struggling, that's the problem.
I know some coaches, like when people sign up, will send a PD book. Do any of you guys do that, or a PD Audible or something to that effect? And if you do, which one do you send? So I get headbands now. Maybe I should just reassess for 2019 what I'm sending.
Well, I would add something too. I think what you send is like important, but something that like PD changed my whole entire life. So like I live and breathe it. And it's something that my coaches see me changing. My coaches like see me becoming a different person through my own personal development, because of what I post on my social media, because of what I post on my team page, because of what I share with them. Something I started doing at the beginning of this year was sharing my lessons in my team page. And while some of those lessons at the beginning, I was like, I don't want them to know those things. Like, I don't want them to know that I'm weak. I don't want them to know that I'm struggling as a leader, right? But it does the opposite thing, because we always get to a certain level in our business where we all have doubts, fears, and worries, right? Like, and I was at a point in my business at the beginning of this year where I was like, I want to like pretend like everything's great so that they want to follow me, but that wasn't working. And I'm not saying you're at that place at all. I'm just saying that they have to see you changing and growing and working on your personal development, encouraging them and like sharing your own breakthroughs. And then they're going to be inspired to want to do that too. That's my belief. And that has pulled my people, or pushed them, pulled them to just want to come along with me along that journey because they have seen me change, so they know the impact of it, you know? So that's my opinion. I personally, I used to send like the compound effect, which is really good too, but I've been recently sending the 5-second rule to all my new coaches because it's really like a tangible, powerful tool that you can like use in all aspects of your life immediately. And then depending on what they are struggling with, then I help them find like a book that talks to them.
So Lauren had something to add as well.
I was just going to say, so one thing that I've done recently is like when my coaches will text me and be like, I'm really struggling with this. So normally it's usually opinions of others. I will like send them the link to like a podcast that's going to kind of answer that question. So like one of my girls was struggling with feeling like people were judging her, especially like within her family. So I sent her the link to the podcast for the Life School of Life. I can't think of what it's called. With Brooke Castillo, and there's one, and it's called The Opinions of Others. And I said, I know this will take 30 minutes of your day, but listen to this. And she texted me back. She was like, that was exactly what I needed to hear. So I think sometimes instead of like saying, read this book, like right when they're like, think of what it is that they're struggling with at that moment, and maybe find like a shortened podcast that you can send to them that they can push play on at that moment. And then that will eventually trickle, because sometimes just giving someone a book is going to be a little bit more, it takes a little bit more dedication and discipline to open it up and read it or to listen to it every day. But like little podcasts, I've found they start to see the value in it.
The podcasts that you get, like, this is a stupid question. Can you Google podcasts and podcasts? Like, well, how do you know where to go to get the topic? You know what I'm saying? Did you Google inside there or?
No, they're just ones I've listened to.
Oh,
that like triggered to me. I was like, oh, that would be a perfect one.
And you just saved it.
I just kind of remembered it. Like I have my go-to people like Lewis Howe and then Brooke Castillo are like my go-to podcasts. And if you scroll through their titles, like because really in a sense, like all of our coaches ultimately most likely have the same struggles, like opinions of others and discipline. I mean, so if you look through and kind of listen to those ones, you'll find some that are more honed in on that topic.
Okay.
We have in our new coach training thing, I get into, I forgot what my topic was. I want to say it's like mindset or whatever. And we roll in the personal development, and we have a whole list of personal development books that pertain to different situations. So if somebody is struggling with rejection, or if they're struggling with whatever the topic is, we have like the book and then like kind of what it would help them with. So I can post that in the group if you want. It's just like a whole list of a bunch of books that like we kind of compiled, and there's probably more that we could even add to it in sense. But
Brittany, were you going to say something?
It's something that I do is if I'm reading something that I think that someone in my crew needs to hear, I actually will read a chapter out loud on Facebook Live, because they might not be doing their own personal development, but like, I'm like 9%, 90% of my team needs to hear this right now. I'm going to take 10 minutes and read this out loud, because they're more likely to listen to me in the background while making dinner than opening up their own book. And so I think that, like Lauren said, like they need to hear this piece, so I'm sharing this piece type of thing. But I myself struggle with PD. I just went over my vision board last night of goals I set in January, and I wrote 10 books down, and I think I've maybe read one whole book. I like really struggle with like starting a book and not finishing it, or like buying a book on my phone but then wanting it in like a hard copy. And so I'm like listening to like 7 different audibles right now, and my extrovert head can't really do audibles. So I'm like, I need to listen to something like 10 times before I actually hear what I need to hear. So I'm on the struggle bus with PD right now as well. But you guys are helping me bring it around.
I have one thing too, just to add in this craziness. My kid might scream. Sorry, guys. Is what I started doing. Hold on one sec. What I started doing is with my team. This is mostly because my team loves weekly team calls. And to be honest, I couldn't come up with training content for every single week. So that was why this started. But what we started doing was I started alternating every other week. We would do a personal development check-in call where we would all basically just get on and go around and share a takeaway we had from our personal development that week. And then like the next week would be a training call. Like that. The same thing with my girls is they don't.
Hang on, Larissa, you're kind of cutting in and out. And we're all like, no, this is good stuff. Where'd she go? Oh, no. Okay, we'll wait for her to come back. But that's awesome. It kind of sounds like she does a PD call and then like switches on and off between PD and training. So that's actually a really good idea. Oh, sorry, Leigh, I thought you wanted to say something. So go ahead.
I had a question. I know this is kind of like off topic because you guys were talking about what you're sharing in your stories and everything. I just wanted to go back there first. One quick second. I'm slightly conflicted, but I kind of know the answer. I have never promoted the programs or the trainers. That's just not the way that I do my social media. I've always promoted me and branding me and what I do in the boot camps, right? When 80-Day Obsession came out, I really like promoted the program itself, like the focus on the core and the booty and these new little things. But I never promoted like Autumn. I want to like lean towards promoting Sean because he's amazing and everything about him and his reputation, I think, is a benefit. But I'm conflicted by like constantly sharing all this stuff about like Sean on my social media and like these videos, like the promotional stuff, because it goes against what I brand. I'm just not sure, like, what are you guys doing? How do, like, I'm conflicted with that and like promoting that versus the boot camps and what the value that I provide with the tools.
I agree. I don't ever promote the programs. I never say a trainer. I don't think I've ever said a trainer name. And it's hard for me because I'm obsessed with Shaun T. And I seriously just want to scream to the rooftops, like, get in the Shaun T test group, get in the Shaun T test group. But again, it needs to be about me at the end of the day. And I kind of just had to make a mental decision of like, don't go into the it's Transform 20 with Shaun T, because it just seems really weird this far into the business. Like maybe if I like started that way, but like 2.5 years in and now I'm starting to be like, hey, I'm Beachbody Blue. It's like, it feels unauthentic. So I think that if you have a really good groove with promoting you and everything, then you don't need to feel like you're missing out on promoting Sean or Transform 20. But if you are used to that, then I think that it wouldn't be weird. But I agree that if you've never done it, that it would just be weird to start doing it.
Brittany, I saw that you wanted to say something.
I hear where you guys are coming from, but this is so huge. I could not imagine not saying Sean. Just because I promote curiosity marketing and like I teach my girls, do not post your Shakeology cups. Don't ever say Beachbody, because what happens is people are like, oh, that's great. And then they go Google it and get it themselves. And so that's what I try to stay away from. But being in the test group and having such a mental shift from Shaun T, I think that it's important for people to know that it's not you creating their workouts and it's not you that's going to be inspiring them every day. So, and like Leah said, Shaun T is a household name for a lot of people. And so I think that you could find a way to bring it in so it's still your style and still your voice, and it's not like night and day, like, what is this chick doing? Because I think if you go to my page, like, you can't tell without digging a wee little bit that I'm a Beachbody coach. And I actually am like, I take it as a compliment if another Beachbody coach invites me to coaching, because I'm like, oh, cool. But I will like randomly, have some Energize in the background or something like that. So I mean, I did just post a picture with my step yesterday, but I teach my girls from the beginning to for sure not like talk about Beachbody every second of every day. But I think a place where I am in my business that like Beachbody is paying my bills tenfold. So like, it's okay to like, people know at this point in my business that it's Beachbody that I'm with, you know? So I think that as long as it's not like everyday Shaun T and you're using stock images from the back office, like I think that there's some gray area that we can live in. So if you're like so far away from not mentioning Shaun T or Transform 20, I think you're going to miss a mark with this huge launch. So I think that you have to, you know, tiptoe around that, see how your market and your audience reacts. But I think I for sure would not talk about Shaun T or Transform 20, just from personal experience with how incredible it is. I don't know. What does anyone else think?
So here's my kind of standpoint on it. So if people have watched my journey from day one, they know I was never a health expert. And I have never tried to, like, that has never been what I've kind of claimed to be. However, I am a coach that helps women use tools that have been given to me. So I don't I say I'm doing this program that Shaun T is trying and I am test piloting it. And so what I kind of, sorry, it's really noisy in here, but what I've been kind of platforming is this is what we're doing, but you need to come with me because I'm going to help you do it the best you can do it. So I'm not necessarily saying like, he's going to be like, yeah, he made this stuff. I always say like, we are a beautiful trifecta. Beachbody does the work, the customer service, the ideas, and the platform. Shaun T makes those workouts, but you can't stay consistent to those workouts, follow those meal plans, learn those meal plans without me. And so I make it this nice trifecta. And I feel like my people that watch me, they can figure it out. Like I show bits and pieces of my Beachbody on demand. I mean, I don't say, I'm a Beachbody coach, but if they dig enough, they can figure it out. But I make it as if, yeah, you can go try to do Shaun T by yourself, but you're not going to make it. You need me to help you be successful. So that's kind of how I've been pushing it out.
Love that. Any other thoughts on that, guys? It looks like we lost Larissa. Darn it. So I wanted to go back to the personal development and ask you guys a question because it seems like you're all very, very passionate about this and about having your team do personal development. Now, how do we turn that into income? The personal development piece.
I feel like if you're not good, your business isn't going to be good. So it all starts with you and the type of person that you are and where you're going and growing and your personal journey before your business. Like you need to be in the right mindset to lead a team, right? So if you're not where you need to be in order to lead, then you're not going to be a very great leader and your team's going to go nowhere. So obviously that turns into income when you're good and you're in this positive mindset and you're able to lead with that and learn from all of that, then your income's going to grow with, like, you know what I mean? Like healthy mind, healthy friggin' bank account.
I love it.
I totally agree. And I think I've been doing this long enough that I know everything comes down to your belief in yourself and your self-worth and your belief in your business. And so I really message that to my team. I share the journeys that I've been going through from like this stage to this stage and this stage to this stage and where I'm going, and make sure that they know that they have to be working on their belief and themselves every single day. I had a mini team retreat this past weekend, and that's pretty much like what we pretty much talked about vision planning and fears and like the business and getting over that and what they need to work on every single day. Pretty much that was what the whole retreat was about. Because they're not going to take action if they have fears, if they're, just like Kelsey said. So I think really leading with that message, and that's personally like what I spend most of the time coaching my girls on, is instilling that belief in them.
Thank you so much.
So
Go ahead, Tess.
The PD for my team, they're very analytical. I like the kumbaya kind of stuff. Nobody does on my team. So they want books that will tell them, even though I've told them a million times, like direction, like the like inner self, let's think about things, all that. Like the meditation stuff does not fly with my team. They need to know, get up at 6 and do this, or like numbers, like, you know, you need to talk to 30 people to get like to get 2 SC, the numbers, it's 10%, right? So 30 people for SC5, right? So I look for PD like that for them. I need the more spiritual stuff, but nobody but nobody likes the PD stuff. That's like Kumbaya, you know, Om and all that. No one likes that on my team. So
you're more business development.
Yeah, that's the word, business development.
Yeah, which is awesome. Like high performing habits, like that's what is it? 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. Though that's way more business lane than like touchy feely. I'm like you. I'm like, oh my gosh, like let's go around and hold hands and, you know, make flower crowns and stuff. Like that's totally me. But it's awesome that you know your team well enough to be able to aim them that way. And Brittany brought up a good point about implementing personal development. It's one thing to just read it or listen to it or, you know, all that stuff. But if you don't implement it, you're not going to do anything. Because Brittany said that she has some hobby coaches that read tons of books, but they haven't done anything this year. So it's that fine line of, you know, let's read it and feel good about ourselves, but you also have to implement it within your team. And just a side note is personal development is just like exercising, right? It's super, super easy to stop and super easy to forget about, right? Once you miss 2 days of working out, you're like, oh, okay, I can go about my life and never do this again. It's just like personal development. You can set your book down and then it's a week later and you don't even remember the last time you picked it up. So it's one of those things that you constantly have to be reminded, like, I need this in my life to be able to move forward. So I think that's something that's very valuable as far as coaching goes, that is part of the value in the package that you offer.
And something I just want to add that I had kind of like this aha moment about like a week ago, because I've been doing mentoring calls like with my upline and all of these like seminars and stuff that I go to, all these people that are like totally successful, they all say the same thing. They all say they have a few books that they just read over and over and over and over and over and over, and they master the crap out of them. And I've heard that for like 3 years, and I'm like, but I keep going from like book to book to book to book to book. And I'm like, I'm trying to find all the solutions instead of getting one book and reading it for like 1 year, 12 times, and mastering the ish out of that. So that's my personal goal this year. I have 2 books and I'm just going to read them and read them and read them and read them and implement it. Because everybody that's doing that, all these people that are massively successful, they're all saying the same thing. So
that's really interesting. I love that thought that it's a little bit something different, you know, than jumping all around. That's really cool. Brittany, are you typing something? Oh, she digs that. Cool. Okay. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I was talking to my team last night about like doing something together for myself to be more accountable. But I kind of like the idea of maybe picking like 2 to 4 books, like one business-minded book and one like feelings book, you know. And I've been talking to a couple other girls too about like getting out of the girl wash your face book genre and getting more into like network marketing building genre, because Beachbody didn't start network marketing. So a lot of coaches don't really know how to take advantage of the compensation plan and like actually do those types of tasks, because a lot of what we do is community and it is, you know, feeling good about ourselves. But there is a business here that a lot of us don't know how to properly take advantage of. And so I think that that's something that I might dig back into in the coming year.
I like that idea. And Lauren, yes, I have read it. It's a great one. The first half is kind of hard to get through. But it's amazing. It really is amazing. Any other thoughts, guys? I have to run to a meeting. So I know our last call was like over an hour and I felt really bad, but I couldn't stop it because I was like, oh my gosh, it's so good.
Wait, was that the elite one?
I think so.
You need to post the recording because I missed it. And I have not, no, because I was like, I need to catch that one.
Okay.
Our state closed school for Bush's funeral. So my kid was home and my brain was like, wait, what day is it? Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I think I recorded it. I'll
You did,
write
because
that on
I
my-
told you to, and then you were like, but I'm in my pajamas eating cereal, and I was like, it doesn't matter, you've got to.
That's right. That was the day I looked homeless, and Whit was there, and she was like, Hannah, to the homeless ladies. Okay, recording. So no comments on how Mary looks in that video, please. Okay, so I'll post that. And then, yes, I think we are going to continue next year, Leah, but what I do with my elite group is that I have, you guys are the top 200. Okay, so that's how I took it. Like, I take 6 months into the year, the top 200 people, they get an invite to this exclusive group. And some things are going to change. I don't know if you guys heard, Jeff Hill is leaving Beachbody. So that means our coach development team is going to go through a little bit of a reorganization. So I'm not really sure what that's going to look like. So stay tuned. And you can always contact me. It doesn't matter if you're in my region or not in my region. I don't care. I want you guys to feel very taken care of and loved. So make sure you don't lose contact